Hello everyone, welcome to this special three-part series in which I take you around some of the places we visited whilst on holiday in Northern Ireland. We were primarily there for a wedding, but I took the GoPro and I wasn't afraid to use it. Note that these videos aren't like normal. Northern Ireland is organised differently to the parishes you're used to in England, so these are much less structured videos, but hopefully just as enjoyable. We had 3 days to explore some of the magnificent things this part of our country has to offer. Here's part 1, filmed on the Tuesday at the Giants Causeway and in the village of Bushmills. On day 1, we drove from our base near Ballymena up to the Giants Causeway, located 3 miles to the north of Bushmills. Access to the Giants Causeway is free of charge. There is a visitor centre which charges a fee, but it's not necessary to go to that to get to the stones. There are 3 main trails you can use to get to the causeway. We opted for the blue trail, seeing as it was the easiest, and it takes around 25 minutes to walk down to the causeway using it. Much of the Giants Causeway and Causeway Coast World Heritage Site is owned and managed by the National Trust. It is one of the most popular tourist attractions in Northern Ireland. The Giants Causeway itself is an area of about 40,000 interlocking basalt columns, the result of an ancient volcanic fissure eruption. It was declared a World Heritage Site by UNESCO in 1986 and a National Nature Reserve in 1987 by the Department of the Environment for Northern Ireland. In 2005, the Giants Causeway was named the 4th greatest natural wonder in the United Kingdom. Most of the columns are hexagonal, although there are some with 4, 5, 7 or 8 sides. The tallest are about 12 metres high and the solidified lava in the cliffs is 28 metres thick in places. According to legend, the columns are the remains of a causeway built by a giant. The story goes that the Irish giant Finn McCool, from the Fenian cycle of Gaelic mythology, was challenged to a fight by the Scottish giant Benandonna. Finn accepted the challenge and built the causeway across the water, known as the North Channel, so the two giants could meet. In one version of the story, Finn defeats Benidorm. In another, Finn hides from Benidorm when he realises his foe is much bigger than he is. Across the sea, there are identical basalt columns which are part of the same ancient lava flow at Fingal's Cave on the Scottish island of Staffa. The area is a haven for seabirds, while the weathered rock formations host numerous plant types. There's a hotel here named the Causeway Hotel, and it's perched on top of one of the cliffs that overlook the trails leading to the stones. Don't be fooled, by the way, by the mist. It was still very warm here. After walking back up the Blue Trail to the visitor centre, and speaking of which, I've included this shot of the prices should you wish to go into it, we were hungry. By the side of the visitor centre is a small pub called the Nook. This is an historic listed building dating from the 1850s, built originally as a schoolhouse. Don't take it from me though, have a read of this description of the place on the bottom of their very varied menu. I sampled the soup of the day, served with wheaten bread. The Causeway first became popular with tourists during the 19th century, particularly after the opening of the Giants Causeway tramway. It was operated by the Giants Causeway, Portrush and Bush Valley Railway and Tramway Company Limited, a 3-foot narrow gauge electric railway operating between Portrush and the Giants Causeway. What you see here now is a heritage railway. The original line closed in 1949 and was subsequently dismantled. The Giants Causeway and Bushmills Railway Company is a not-for-profit organisation with charitable status. Our next destination was the village of Bushmills. Bushmills had a population of 1,295 in the 2011 census. It's located 60 miles from Belfast, 11 from Ballycastle and 9 from Coleraine. The village owes its name to the River Bush and to large watermills that were built here in the early 17th century. It's home to the old Bushmills distillery, which produces Irish whiskey, which was closed owing to COVID-19, so we didn't visit that. It is, however, one of the village's biggest attractions usually. Bushmills was formerly known as Port Cayman. It became increasingly important as many mills were built powered by water from the River Bush. The village owes much of its development to the McNayton family in the 19th century. They were responsible for many of the prominent buildings, including the Market Square, Clock Tower, Courthouse and Old National School. Unsurprisingly, there's a fair few references to Finn McCool around the place too, including this pub, which you can't really miss. Bushmills Distillery uses water drawn from St Colum's Rill, which is a tributary of the River Bush. The distillery is a popular tourist attraction with around 120,000 visitors per year. The River Bush has traditionally been a salmon fishing river, though the numbers dwindled in the late 20th and early 21st century. The river's source is in the Antrim Hills. From there the river flows northwest and then bends towards the north, passing through Bushmills before reaching the sea at Port Ballantrae on the North Antrim coast. As we walked back along the banks of the bush, we came across Daisy the cow, standing tall in the Millennium Garden, commissioned by Bushmills residents and environmental group. A couple of fun facts for you. Bushmills is twinned with Louisville, Kentucky in the United States. It was also the location of one of the 5 console navigation system transmitter stations in the years following the Second World War. Stick around for part 2, where we drive out towards Larne to check out some more of the Causeway coast.